Guys, two things from over the weekend stood out for me. I want to make sure that they're to your attention because number one is Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker did not look great. Did you think he would? Of course he didn't look great. We all knew that he could win, but we all knew that he could not as well. First off, Arnold is a stud. Make sure you start with that. Some of these guys that aren't the bigger names, we just perceive to not be as good. That is not true. That has never been true. That is a fallacy within the sport, which is why it's really important that you get matched up accordingly. Now, you take whatever matches you get offered, but you have a chance prior to that phone call coming in to steer your own career. If you don't do it, if you don't get something going, if you don't start planting seeds, particularly in the world of social media, you've been irresponsible to yourself and you deserve whatever they want to give you. I bring that to you because Arnold's a bad son of a bitch. And Arnold's also very smart. I had a feeling going into this fight that Arnold would be very apprised on the fact of how difficult it would be for Dan Hooker to make weight. Dan Hooker gets on the scale. He's probably got 3% body fat. I was even talking to Dr. Abbasi about that, just staring at the photo. We were guessing back and forth, how much body fat do you have? I said, man, I don't know, but it's less than 3%. Looked fantastic. But you also understand what he had to do to get that look, right? That look is a byproduct of hunger, of overtraining, and of dehydration. None of those three, let alone all of them together, are a good recipe to go out and have your best performance, right? It's one of those realities. Not to mention when you do something different, you can expect something different. When you're expecting something different and you know that you're going to get it, the first time is just for experience. The first time is just to try. I grew up in wrestling. We got a really big tournament called Fargo. Our own coach was one of the best coaches in the entire world, would tell our guys, first time is for experience. Second time is to place, and your third time is when we go to win it. This is just the process. And our coach was not easy. He did not alleviate pressure from it. He put it on us, but he was also very realistic. And you could look at the athletes that did that. It was exactly that order. Your first year, you're getting ran out of there. You walk in there with these big eyes. You don't know what to expect. Then you realize, oh, wait a minute, I can compete with these guys. And you go back and you get yourself on the medal stand. You say, wait a minute, compete with these guys. I can beat them. You go back and get yourself a big old stop sign. It's a very real, and it's also very real with what Dan Hooker was going to have to deal with. Now, the reason I credit Arnold for that, I think Arnold just knew what time it was. So he says, look, one thing that comes with dehydration and changing of your physiology, generally speaking, is a slow start. So I'm going to go jump on this sumbitch right now. Hooker thinks he's going to come out and feel this octagon out a little, feel his speed, feel his size. I'm not going to give him those minutes. I'm going to crowd it. I'm going to bring my A game to him right now, a storm, and hope that no tree is left standing. That's what happened. Dana was asked about this. I really appreciated this answer. He was asked by the media, what do you do with Hooker now? Now, when the media asks that question, they are acting as though, oh, silly me, I'm just asking a question. What they're hoping for is to dance on somebody's grave. The number one answer in media is hoping to get back for whatever evil reason. And we all have an evil, whatever evil side, when you want to hear he's going to get cut. You want to hear this didn't work out. You want to hear, hey, that's 2 in a row. This guy's gone. Who's Dan Hooker? Dana? So he can do whatever he wants to do. He set a goal, fights anybody we asked him. He made the weight class. Whatever he does next is whatever he wants to do. I was so grateful that Dana saw and understood that a young man on a tough journey took a risk and he got caught. So what? He got caught on a night when we all knew, if you're a fight fan, isn't going to be his best night. So what? The first time, you go see it. The second time you place, the third time you win it. That's the way it works. I believe that since I was 9 years old, quoting Roy Pittman right there. The other thing that happened, I want to make sure this didn't go over your guys' head. Paul Craig, who is flat impressive. I tell you guys all the time, you're not going to submit somebody from your back. Now, that's, of course, a broad stroke. I get more specific and tell you, you're not going to submit somebody in your back in a main event. But I don't really have to go that far. Submissions from the guard, it's just not a thing. It's not a thing to the point that the family, the Gracies, who brought jiu-jitsu to the forefront of all of our minds, stopped doing it once they employed the round system. Or even Hoyces go, hey, that's not what we do. We get held down, we feel the guy out, we take a little energy out of him, we slip something on. You breaking us up in between rounds, you're throwing off our rhythm. You could rinse and repeat that all night. The Gracies took their oars out of the water. They were only training people for a period of time. Then they figured out, okay, this is where the rules are going to be. We've got to adapt. I understand that. I'm just sharing that. I'm using that example to prove my point that very hard to get done under these circumstances. Craig keeps finding a way. Everything that I just told you guys is historically right. If you were going to let me keep putting barriers between, like I do, well, when it's a title fighter, when it's in the 5th round, I could do that same thing with the weight class at 205 pounds. It's not going to happen, but it keeps happening with Paul Craig. This sumbitch is dangerous, and it's his hips, by the way. If you're ever watching him, oh, how's he tying up the arm? And what's he doing with his leg? No, it's his hips. This guy's hips. It's like they're on glass the way they slip around. He moves beautifully. He entangles you and offers you a threat or a distraction. He waits for a level of posture, and he attacks. It's awesome. But when Craig was done, called out Anthony Smith. He called out Anthony Smith. God damn, that's a good idea. Something has been going on with Lionheart. I am friends with Lionheart, and I can't get an answer on what it was. Something. I got to leave it at something. He wants to fight to the point that he told me, I will even go up a weight class, which puts him in heavyweight. I will even go down a weight class, which puts him at 185 pounds. I have the foggiest idea how he's going to make that, but that is how badly he wants to get back in there. He's got that itch. He's training if any opportunities open up. He's in a situation. There is nobody. He's a very high-ranked guy. He's done 8 main events. He's a popular guy. It puts him in a smaller pool, and everybody was booked. Well, they're not now. Paul Craig is apparently open. Paul Craig went a little bit further with his call-out when he said, how about we main event? He even gave a location. No, he didn't say main event. He said 5 rounds. That's what I liked about it. He said, let's do it for 5 rounds. The reason I like that is because he's now disguising that he wants a main event. Nobody gets anything they don't ask for. And matchmakers are just like you guys. How would you like it? Whatever job you do, whatever you do for a living, how would you like it if somebody walked in the door and did your job for you? Your job was done. You don't have to make phone calls. You don't have to negotiate. You don't have to wonder. You don't have, okay, it's going to be here and it's going to be, and then you're staying in this hotel and here's the weight class. And by the way, it's the main event. It's just done. It just drops in your lap. You can move on to the next thing. All of you would like that. I would love that. Of course we would. So Anthony, of course, accepts. So Paul and Anthony are now offering. We'll see if it gets accepted. Not only to fight each other, which is oh my goodness, that's a fantastic match. We can break the X's and O's down once we get a bound agreement, but that is the match. Not to mention with the rankings, not to mention with the popularity. I think that match is going to happen. I could not imagine saying no to that match. Not to mention, it satisfies a main event. They even got a location. Paul thought of everything. Now he just gets to say yes, and there is room to negotiate. Like if it's the same location, but it's a 3-round fight, they're both going to say yes. But I think Paul's onto something. And I do think for Paul's style, the longer the better. And I know you guys haven't seen him in 5-round fights. You haven't seen him go 25 minutes, but that kind of style bodes well over duration. Paul's just so damn good, he's not having to get to it. So I like that. I like that fight. I like that call out. And Anthony's got some kind of business going with Uncle Aya. And with Anthony's response, he ever said that, Uncle Aya, Craig, whoever, I'm in. I don't really need to see the Uncle Aya fight. I don't know enough about Uncle Aya. I know that he's very good. I know he's doing very well. I know we just had a big win in a main event, but you're talking about Anthony Smith, who's done 8 of them, including a world title fight where he would have been champion if he just said yes. He was a word away, not a move away. He was 1 word from being the world champion. I think you got to put him in there with somebody that's a little bit more interesting. I just think that's where Craig comes in. That fight had never crossed my mind. I thought about rematches with Glover Teixeira. I thought, hey, what's this guy? I've had a lot of ideas for Anthony Smith. This is the one. Paul Craig hit this on the head. I want your guys' opinion. I'm going to read the comments. I'm teeing you up, but just tell me. Lionheart versus Craig. You buyers or sellers?